Hey guys, welcome back to Heavy Fallout. Today we're talking about ancient civilizations. Sounds sort of weird, but did we get history right? Sort of written that humanity sort of like did this like slow progression of intelligence over time, but I think a lot of new information is coming out that there's a possibility, a high possibility, that a long time ago, maybe multiple times, humanity or there were civilizations human-like civilizations that were way more evolved. You know, the whole story of Atlantis, maybe advanced Egypt, something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah, Mesopotamia. Those were among the first civilizations. Mesopotamia, Egypt, and before that, like basically all of humanity were just hunter gatherers, and that was the history of mankind. Had just basically in the past 5, 7, maybe 8,000 years,
Right.
had come into existence, like
But
civilization.
yeah, so that's how it's written. But history is, it's interesting because over 2,000 years ago, it's just mostly verbal. As far as written history, a lot of it's like stories, even with the common history. It's either written by the victor of wars. Like every time there's a major, huge war, history has changed. Looks makes the victor look better, but over time things become myths. Like you hear like a fantastical tales of old times, and it becomes myths, it becomes religions, it becomes whatever you want to call it. But maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe it's a lot. If there's an advanced civilization is actual source of that myth, that story, whatever that legend, whatever you want to talk about, like the Great Floods, saving humanity with whatever means. Ancient Egypt, were they? What time period did Egypt get created? There's a little
Yeah,
bit of a
the official story for Egypt is now it's just always been accepted, but recently it's been called into question, and it's been very popular lately. People have
very
been
popular.
looking and seeing, the artifacts in Egypt. There seem to be almost two different time periods. One where it was super advanced, things are very precise, things are hard to explain how they were built, and then a later period where it's almost as if people moved in there and tried to copy what happened before then. And the
Yeah,
pyramids are worse. The sculptures are not as good.
or altered. They could have like they had some very precise sculptures that were like certain parts like faces were altered, but
Yeah, and they chiseled
copying like making what was that? What is that show that just came out? Ancient
with
Civilization.
Graham Hancock. It's
Yeah,
like,
shout out to them. Like they're killing it right now.
yeah,
They're bringing all that to the forefront. But
and
I
that's
think it was point out
amazing. If what he's saying is true, which it looks like it
it
is.
looks so. I mean, I believe it's true. I'm not like out there doing this stuff, but from the evidence he's presenting, it's like so. You're talking about copying stuff. They had vases made of like granite that had like speckling in it, and the people later on, there were still like 2, 3 thousand years ago, they would make vases out of a vase out of clay, and then they'd paint speckles on it because there's no way they're making a precise spherical, like the bottom's perfectly spherical or very close to. There's no way they're making that out of granite. They have no tooling to do that. I don't even know if we can today. It might be hard, but they definitely couldn't do it back then. But they're copying it. Like they acknowledge the amazingness of it.
And they're saying it might be mass produced. Like not when you find one, like they may have been mass produced, and so that just means they had technology.
Right. They had
The way they
a lot
did
more
it,
advanced technology than we understand today.
yeah, way more.
And it's like there's a lot to that though. Like it really like makes you look at history as a whole. Like what really happened? Like with ancient history, like did like the whole story of Atlantis, was that like just like, oh, this continent went underwater? Was that really just like, say like 15, 20,000 years ago, probably humans were here, and say they're hypothetically they're all just super advanced. We do like they talk about the technology they had, electricity, flying vehicles, probably planes, whatever. They had all this crazy technology, radio
Like
waves.
on par with right now,
Yeah,
or maybe
if
even
not better.
beyond.
But they sank, and it's like you could say there's a thousand things you can interpret that to be, but think outside the box. Could that have been just like, I'll try to paint this picture. Could it have been like, hey, the because there's a meteor strike back then, meteorite. Could they have been like, hey, it's coming in. We have this meteorite coming in. Our defense, we have multiple ways we're going to handle this. We're going to try to handle it. Maybe we'll go to space. Some of them went to space. Who knows? Don't know anything about that. But maybe they're like, hey, if we go underwater, water can't compress. We'll be protected. It'll protect us from the heat, whatever shockwave. We have advanced technology. We're going to go underwater. There's some other cities, countries, whatever you want to call them. They're like, they just don't have the technology. They're not going to do it. But those guys go underwater. They take like these huge, and I'm just making this all hypothetical, like these huge, whatever buildings or water, like you know what I mean,
undersea
ships,
cities,
and they bring them underwater, and they build, like they build
basically.
a underwater base or community. Not say base, but underwater dwelling, like just a whole society down there, and they just hide from it, and like wow, it worked. Meanwhile, other countries are on the surface and they're watching all this and they're like, we can't go, we don't have the technology, we don't have the room.
And they're just getting pummeled.
But they see it and then they get destroyed. They have advancements. It's like another country, some other country that's on, it's close, but or it's even the same country. They just don't have enough people to go underwater, and they watch it, and then 90% of those people on the surface get wiped out.
Yeah.
And
so you're saying, I think what they're saying is 10 or 12,000 years ago. Isn't it like 10,500 years ago or something?
They're saying
like
15,000 and
12,500.
I think it was 15 in the. It doesn't matter. Like the time period of
something's hitting the Earth, and
right,
the
and
comet,
resetting
like
it.
a meteor, whatever you call it, hits the Earth, and by doing so, it's like melts a lot of the ice on the caps, causing worldwide flooding, wiping out civilization throughout most of the world. So not only things from comets hitting the Earth, destroying things for an extended period of time,
Well,
but also all the ice melting because of that, causing both
because of the heat. Well, I'm saying that it's just a worldwide catastrophe, and it's going to kill a ton of people. But either way,
And there was,
even if you had an advanced civilization, they're not going to have any advancements anymore. Like you take out 90% of the planet right now, cell phones gone, TVs, all technology, all electronics gone.
But you're saying there was what it looks like. There was a worldwide civilization.
Yes.
And it was advanced at
I think it's possible.
almost
as
we are now, or beyond us. Who knows?
Yeah.
But like just some of the buildings.
I would say beyond us.
Some of the buildings, like they figured something out that we don't know.
I would
how
say
to
beyond us because I think the pyramids are part of that. They're like, hey,
yeah, we can't build those.
I don't know if anyone has this theory too, or if it's been said before, but my theory is the pyramids they're not for what do you call it? Like not funerals, but for
It's not a tomb.
it's not a tomb, exactly.
It's silly.
They take way too long to build for like me to be like the average age is 30 years back then for pharaoh. Take 200 years. Like no, by the time that's finished, the 20 pharaohs after you are going to take that tomb. No, you're not going to do that. What I think it was is that these civilizations back then were like, hey, let's build a bunker for knowledge because the library of who was the famous female?
Alexandria.
Yeah, Alexandria, right?
Yeah.
Vast amounts of super intelligent knowledge that we'll never know about because it got burned to the ground.
Yeah.
But they build these bunkers. They're like, hey, we're going to have an impact. Let's build this bunker that can take a blast. It's angled. It can take a blast from whatever direction this hits. We're not going to mess around with that. We'll just make a pyramid. It can take a blast. It's ginormous. And that will allow people to have all our knowledge is documented. So we can get back up and running if we don't make it underwater. Whoever survives has this bank of knowledge that's protected. There's 3 pyramids. There's pyramids all over the planet now.
Yeah.
And they have this vast amount of knowledge. And then they're also like a weird thing. This is totally off the wall, but the pictograph or the hieroglyphs are sort of like they're like not like emojis. That's like really dumbing it down, but like
It's
a
something that people can
pictographic yeah, exactly, a pictographic language where like, hey, if you showed someone Chinese or English even, or pretty much any language right now, they can't if with zero knowledge of that language, they're not going to decrypt it. But if you have pictures, they're like, hey, that's a bird. I understand this. They're probably going to, like, maybe they develop that inside the pyramids. So, like, hey, one day they'll be able to figure this out. They'll unlock the knowledge. That's worst case. Worst case, we get wiped out and then our language is gone too. They'll decrypt it and they'll figure out all of our knowledge again. But it got burned. People looted it and it didn't go down that way. But I feel like that's a possibility. That's just my theory. I feel like it's a possibility of why they were built back in the day, why they were so advanced, why we still can't explain how the pyramids were built. That's insane.
Yeah, they're trying to, and it's
and they're all over the planet.
The explanation that they have for the building of it by like the tools they're saying they're built by, and this is like Egyptologists and most like current day historians. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, when you look at it, and anybody can look at it. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to be a specialist in anything. If you just watch and you watch enough stuff on it and you listen to people talk about it, it's obvious. Like it's these things didn't come about the way that they're saying they did. It's totally obvious, man.
Right.
And then the other thing is there's so many, not only just the pyramids and not only like Machu Picchu and Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey was the thing that kicked it off, because Egyptologists were saying, hey, these pyramids were built, X amount of years ago, 5,000 years ago, 3,500, whatever. And they're saying, if there's any proof, you're saying these are built earlier. If there's any proof, let's see it. Haha. See, there's no proof. Boom. They find Göbekli Tepe, which is what, 10,000, 12,000 years old?
Something like that. I don't know the exact dates. I should have.
It's way older. And they're like, well, there's some proof. How about now? And now you're starting to hear Egyptologists like, just shut up about it.
But they're not back. They're not. Yeah, I'm saying they're not backing down. They're not accepting, which is insane.
They're
like,
backing down.
You can't have an open mind. Like, look at it again with a completely open mind. Look at all this again and say, delete all your just, what do you call it? Like all your predetermined like truths, and just like say, hey, do we have everything right? Like, we could have
and
deemed certain things full on truths, and they might not be, and now we're like building off that, and that's not the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But they're invested in it. Obviously, if you made your living off it, if you wrote books, if you're making money off it, you're doing tours of it, and you look like you're the man, it's your ego and it's your bank account that is going to stop. That's going to stop.
Yeah, but you have a
you
duty
from
as a
being an
scientist.
open mind. Okay.
Well, I know. I'm just, I'm saying like.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me. Oh, I have a duty as a scientist. Yeah. Like,
no, I'm saying like you have a like. If you ever got caught or outed, hiding that you're not trying to look for the truth, like you're done. Your career's done. I'm not saying you have a duty, like it's like you're.
I understand what you're saying. Dude.
Like you're done. Like your career's done. Like your livelihood's done.
They can make the same money, but they could just go, "Hey, this is what we thought it was. Hey, I was wrong. Actually, Graham Hancock's right. Here's my new book on how Graham Hancock's right." And
well, they're saying they're hardcore attacking him.
Yeah, I know.
From what I understand, which is ridiculous. Like,
dude, that's crazy, dude.
It's like they know he's right. The way they're attacking him, it's like they know he's right.
So
there's more to this.
So when it goes to like prehistoric civilizations, like
so
before official history, the pyramids, they're starting to believe everything kind of lines up. Like even the buildings in South America, all the Aztec buildings there, and the pyramids, and then you got Göbekli Tepe, and then you have weird stuff like the Piri-Reis map, which is like this map that is very. You've ever heard the Piri-Reis map?
No, I haven't.
It's an old map that some like Turkish navigator found, and he made copies of it in like the 13 or 1400s. No, never heard of it.
I never.
And it
shows.
Might have. And it shows exactly how.
If I haven't, I blame it on alcohol.
It shows like. Basically all of Africa. It shows like Antarctica,
and it shouldn't have been
South
logged
America,
yet.
And it doesn't make sense because it's an accurate map.
Yeah,
it's very accurate. It's not like
it's weird how they could map so accurately back then just by sailing.
But it's like no one had ever been there before. So how did this person from Europe get this information about the Middle East, Turkey?
So you're saying he was given the information by like passing along like a super intelligent.
He had an old map and he just made a copy of it. And it was a map that by this time in the 15 or 1400s was already 1,000 years old, 2,000 years old. He made a copy of it. He got his hands on this very old map because he used to use cartographer, just made a bunch of maps. So.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, so if getting back to that. The ancient society, like if they did survive and they were underwater, like that would explain like how modern UFOs or aliens or whatever we're gonna call them, they're always around water nowadays, and they're always like going into water. They're multi-medium. They can fly through the air and then hit the water. They're very protective of the planet. Like if you're just a random alien, like hey, they developed nukes. Let's just back off and watch from a distance. Like why are they getting so like supposedly they're getting so involved with like taking down nuclear facilities? Like, there's a lot of reports of that of nukes getting deactivated. That would explain UFOs. Like, hey, they're in advanced race. It's been continually advancing, just underwater. Haven't detected them. I know that's a little like hard to wrap your mind around. That there'd be a whole different civilization underwater, but like they say, the ocean, like super deep ocean. Especially if they've got some sort of a gravity drive, gravity control, is how everyone including Bob Lazar, and a lot of people are saying that aliens can travel through space faster than that'd be the only way you could travel through space faster than the speed of light. They could also resist that huge pressure of water
Yeah.
because that's gravity.
Yeah, and a lot of the
You
accounts
could have a whole bubble down there.
a lot of the accounts are them moving through water as easily, like equally as they would as
Well-
UFOs are seen to move through air. Like,
Well, according to
doesn't- it's not a
physicists,
factor.
there is a max speed in water. You can only go so fast because water does not compress. With that, with air, you can compress it and then break through the sound barrier. Let's bring the sound barrier. Water doesn't do that. It doesn't compress, so you can't. There's no barrier to break through. You can only go a certain speed, and then after that, it's just impossible
What's
as far
the
as we
speed?
know. What's the speed?
you know.
It's not very fast, according to us.
So how are these things going through the water that fast?
I have no idea what the speed is. I mean, from what I understand, it's like around, and this is a total estimate, like maybe 100 miles an hour. It's not. It's nothing. What I'm trying to say is, it's nothing crazy. It's not like Mach 1. But
Yeah.
and again, the speed of sound underwater. When you hear people talk about that, realize sound travels faster underwater. So the speed of sound doesn't equate to like
How
if
much-
you're Mach 1 in the air.
How much shit would you hit underwater if you're going so fast too? Think about all the life in the water. You got to be like hitting dolphins.
So there were,
and
I think, so that
octopus
whole story of the guy in the North Pole doing the nuclear he's a scientist in a nuclear submarine by the North Pole, right? One of the poles. And they said that they were going the fastest that humanity can possibly make a submarine go underwater. And they heard something through sonar go past them at, I don't even know what he said. It was like 2,000 miles an hour. It was like Mach whatever underwater. Mach 3 underwater.
Yeah.
And I mean, these aren't exact numbers. I'm just sort of like guesstimating, but insane speed. And he's like, how is that even possible? But yeah, like what you're saying, like you hit a whale doing that.
Yeah.
Just blow a hole through a whale. Just take it. That's how megalodons went extinct, actually. But yeah, I mean, there's always the possibility of just messed up sensors, but I'm sure that's got to be mega redundant. Is the only way you can see underwater is sonar. That's got to have so many redundancies. But
So, like an ancient civilization, an apocalypse happens tens of thousands of years ago, or maybe 10,000 or
15, 20,
20,000,
somewhere in there.
And this advanced civilization goes, the surface of the Earth is too dangerous for whatever
It's going to
reason.
get torched. It's going to be just torched, not nuclear, but just it's going to, like when a meteorite hits, it's going to be like a nuke, but it's not radioactive. It's just
Yeah.
going to be a humongous fireball, debris in the air, possibly the whole planet gets just flashed with heat.
Yeah.
Melts the caps, causes huge flooding. Or doesn't necessarily melt them all, probably.
And then they just continue their civilization down there.
You're protected by water, so it's just going to burn off with the boiling point, like it's going to flash off.
Yeah.
But you're also protected by compression, like the water can't compress, so it's not like you're going to get like just this huge concussion, this overpressure that you'd get on the surface. You
Yeah.
could just hide underwater and just wait it out.
Yeah. Prehistoric civilizations. I mean, it could
It's a
be.
possibility. It's a theory.
It's a theory. I mean, they could be anything. I mean, who's to say that dinosaurs, that raptors didn't evolve into an intelligent creature that used their hands and created things?
Which is a really weird topic because, like, the Earth is old. Like, evolution, like, that's so much time. Like, they could have evolved into something.
Yeah.
But
500
also the evidence of
millions
it.
of years.
The evidence of it. If you have anything metallic, like, yes, we have fossils, and I guess again, I'm not a scientist or anything in that area, but could metal survive over that time? Like, you say you create iron, you create whatever, even titanium. If you put titanium in the Earth for 20 million years, would it be recoverable? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't.
Or would
think
it dissolve? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you had,
It'd be like this.
I don't know, but if you haven't,
if we
I
abandon,
think a lot of it would
if we
disappear.
abandon this, how long until all of this just
All of civilization was
becomes
just
unrecognizable?
the history is just gone.
Yeah,
we didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, we couldn't even
Not detectable.
This microphone's not detectable. You can't
Right,
even
that's what I'm
tell it
saying.
was a microphone.
Millions of years. That's a long time
10,000 years, 5,000 years, 2,000 years. Like how long? Like
for that.
it's not very long. So if something was alive millions of years ago and it made things,
Well, I mean,
equal
10,000 is
or
not much, but millions is like.
well, I mean, even 10,000 years. This computer, if I left this here for
Oh yeah, it's
10,000
gone.
years,
That's
there'd
gone.
be nothing here.
That's gone.
So you're not able to tell as accurately as you would like about further than a few thousand
Well,
years
it's not even
ago.
that. Like there is that aspect of it, but there's also like natural events, eruptions, just the
Yeah.
changing of the environment, floods, impacts. You'd cover it with dirt too. Like the things would be shifting, moving,
Yeah.
degrading, hitting the sun,
Yeah, that's all
deteriorating,
part of it.
and it would just crush everything on the surface and mingle
Yeah.
it up, and it's just gone. It's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. So the only way that we would find anything is like if an advanced civilization left something on the moon, if they left something in space, like the Black Knight satellite,
Yeah.
which they think might be
Or even
part.
something impacted on the other side of the moon. The moon's been there for
Yeah.
billions of years,
Yeah.
right? 3 billion. Something had to have impacted that at some time on the other side. If there was
Yeah.
like a drone from a different planet,
Yeah.
and it's just there.
I mean,
So it's just such a vast amount of time. We can't even. Humans, people, whatever you want, they can only wrap their minds around time in like thousands of years. Once you go further out, like it's hard to quantify in your head, like just to understand how large of a number that is.
Yeah.
3 billion years,
Yeah.
whatever the age of the
7
universe is.
billion? Is Earth? How's the Earth?
I
7
thought it was
billion?
like 3.4. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, a long enough time for a civilization to rise up, travel the universe, and die and go away. Like
Right.
that's enough time for it to do that. You know.
Yeah, so it's going back to these civilizations, though. It's like, yeah, they could have existed over and over
It's totally
and over.
possible. It's
and
in
just get
fact,
deleted.
it's like likely. I feel like it's
Earth
likely.
is 4.5 billion.
It's 4.5.
How do they even determine that too? I always wonder that. Like I get carbon dating. You need something carbon based, which stone does not have. You need carbon based, like life, basically,
Some
vegetation.
smart guy figured it out.
Well, yeah, they're also
Some
saying
gang of smart guys figured that out.
they're also
And
saying
they went with it.
the Big Bang's not real, which seemed like a dumb idea, anyways. That everything
Happened all at once.
that everything has to combine to redo it. Every single atom has to recombine, and that's when the breaking point is to release everything. There's not like just X amount. Once you achieve X amount in this area of the universe, it explodes, and it's just happening all over in different scales. Like, why do you need everything in the universe?
That's
like,
going to change a million.
And
And
if
then in the next century, in the next couple centuries, that idea is going to change 50 fucking times.
yeah, and you
know?
could just like you have a super advanced race, you'll just fly away from the center where gravity can't touch you.
Yeah.
Gravity doesn't go that far. But either way,
mean-
off topic.
I mean, allegedly, if you believe in globe-like Earth planets, fools.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I think that's super interesting, especially now that people are opening their minds to actually look into it and think about it, and like, hey, let's like look at this stuff. And
It's just
there's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
It's just the time.
What
Yeah.
they're finding, and like the ground penetrating radar, they're finding out these pyramids
Cities.
of South America, cities,
Yeah.
and the laser stuff. They're scanning the force, and they can actually see the surface. They're finding
Yeah,
a
they
lot
can
of new
see
stuff.
These outlines of these old cities all through the South America, like
Yeah.
in Brazil and all sorts of crazy places, in the Amazon. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, as far as this goes, some things appear to be complete BS when you look at it. You know, like maybe chupacabra or some other things.
Right, but
other
this
things are
is-
strong. Like this is very strong.
There's
This,
a lot to
looks
this one, like,
there's a lot to
man, I
it to
feel like-
look into. It's fun. It's fun to look at it.
I feel like this is bigger than like even the near space exploration, like nearby. Like this is like we could find more here. Maybe Mars has some stuff, but like we could probably find a lot. Like it's sounding like we could find a lot of crazy stuff on our own planet
Yeah.
that somehow we don't even know exists, but it's
Yeah.
coming to light now. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff.
Interesting.
Once you look it up, you'll go down a rabbit hole. You'll find a ton of cool stuff.
I haven't even watched the show completely.
It's dude, super fun. They think they may have found where Atlantis is, sort of, and then
It's
it
gonna be a
looks
hard
pretty
one to
good.
find. I think when they find it, if it exists, and I'm still a little torn on that, but if it exists, and it's
Sahara
still
Desert?
could you imagine if it's still intact and still running? Like potentially it could
No,
be.
it's not running. It's gone. But I mean,
But that would explain
I think they
UFOs.
found the remnants of it.
What are
You
these
know
UFOs? What if these UFOs that crash in the ocean? They're hovering in the ocean. They go
what I mean?
into
Anything, dude. It could be reptilians from
very-
100 million
They're
years
very
ago.
very
Could be aliens from another planet. Could be interdimensional travelers.
very prevalent over the ocean.
It
though.
could be fake. It could be a government thing. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Yeah. It could be. Yeah. It could be a lot of things. But I mean, it's what I would like to believe it to be.
Yeah,
aliens
dude.
or an ancient.
I want reptilians to be real.
No,
I would love that.
I wouldn't.
So I
That'd
can
be
hang out
scary
with
as hell.
David Icke. Just kick it with him all day long.
All right, well, I think that's probably gonna wrap up this video. I don't have a whole lot more at this time to talk about that, but very interesting. Look into that. Watch what's the name of the show? Ancient Civilization, right?
Oh, it's a Graham Hancock. Just
It's on Netflix or something.
yeah,
Hopefully.
who cares?
But yeah, check it out. That's gonna wrap this one up. If you guys liked the video, remember to like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, leave a comment telling us how we could do better, how
Yep.
crappy we are.
Yeah.
All right, see you
All right,
guys.
laters.